Louisiana falls in the Sun Belt Tournament final to Southern Miss. Let's recap it and look ahead towards a regional here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL sports. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can call me Fitz. And in today's episode, we will be recapping Louisiana falling to Southern Miss in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament final game. And then we'll also look ahead at the regional projections because as things stand, it looks like this team is going to be playing in the postseason or continuing to play in the postseason. I know the last episode that we had was when the Cajuns lost to Texas State. Been traveling back and forth a little bit, so now we're recapping here. So before we get into the championship, we'll talk about their journey of how they got to this point to make it there. So they lose to Texas State that Thursday night. That puts them in the loser bracket, and there was a lot of weather delays and things that happened that forced them to have to play in difficult situations. So they bus an hour away from Montgomery they go to Troy, and they have to play Coastal Carolina again in the losers bracket, and they win that game 5-4. They hang on to be able to win it there on Friday night. And then on Saturday, they had to beat Texas State twice in order to play for the championship. And they were able to do it. They got a 12-6 win to start the day. They had a long break in between, and then they beat the Bobcats later that night 7-4. They come here into the Sun Belt Championship game playing against Southern Miss, a team that they had beaten 2 out of 3 times earlier in the regular season. They lose this game 11-7. Let's talk about the game flow as we always do. And just right out of the gate, the Golden Eagles proved why they are a top 25 program, why they're going to host a regional this postseason, and why they have kind of been the it team in the Sun Belt these past few years. So in the first inning, UL goes down in order. And then in the bottom half of the frame, USM has a solo home run by Seth Smith. And then Matthew Russo hits a 3-run jack. So you're down 3-0 right out of the gate. You get to the second inning. Louisiana once again goes down in order. And then Joey Urban gets a RBI single or I believe it was a 2-run single here. No, an RBI single. So 1 run comes in, and then after that, Davis Gillespie hits a double. Joey Urban scores, or Joey Urban's single was a 2-run single, and then Davis Gillespie had a RBI double. So now you're down 6-0 before you can even get yourself adjusted to start the day. And not to mention, Southern Miss had to play earlier in the day in a winner-take-all matchup against Troy earlier that morning. So they were still rolling off the momentum from that game. You go into the third inning, Donovan LaSalle gives you a home run, his 11th of the season. So now it is 6-1. But then once again, Southern Miss continues to swing at you. Ty Long hits a double that drives in a run, and then Seth Smith has another RBI that he drives in. He drives in Ty Long, and that makes it now 8-1. Again, very early in the game. And then you get to the middle innings, and that's where Louisiana kind of had some moments where they could have really gotten disruptive and cut into the deficit, but they left too many base runners on. So you get there to the top of the fourth. Noah Lewis is walked. Liamade singles, so now you have a runner on first and second. And then after that, Drew Marco lines out, but it allows Noah Lewis to advance to third. Mark Collins is walked, and Liamade advances, so you have the bases loaded. Eventually, after Southern Miss has a mound visit, Maddox Mendino grounds out, so you leave 3 base runners on. That hurts. Right after that, in the bottom of the fourth, Southern Miss would drive in 2 more runs on a Ben Higdon 2-run single. And so now you're down 10-1, and it is the 4th inning. So now you're going to the 5th. And again, Louisiana threatens. Blaze Rodriguez walks. Noah Lewis is hit by a pitch, so you have 2 runners on. Liamade is a hit by a pitch, so the bases are loaded once again. Colt Brown goes down swinging. You leave the bases loaded twice. That's now 6 left on for you in an instance in a game where you left 12 base runners on. And you still had a chance because you only lost this game by 4 runs because of what you were able to do later in the outing. The bottom of the fifth, Southern Miss scores yet another run. Davis Gillespie, he gets another double, and so now it is 11-1. Now the run rule could potentially be in effect. You get to the sixth inning, you're not able to do anything. Seventh inning, you score a run thanks to a Blaze Rodriguez single that allows Steven Spalita to score, Donovan LaSalle to score. And then in the ninth inning was where you had all of your offense to come alive. Liamade hit a home run after Blaze Rodriguez was walked to start the inning off. So that was a 2-run jack that cut into the lead. And then Mark Collins had a 3-run homer. That made it 11-7. But again, you left too many base runners on. And because of the fast start that Southern Miss was able to get out of the gate and have, the deficit and the hole that you had dug for yourself was just too big. You lose the game, but ultimately you proved how hard you have been fighting this entire tournament to be able to be in this position. I had said coming in that I felt like they needed to win it to leave no doubt, but I still feel like now they have done enough to be able to get themselves in a regional bid. And we'll discuss exactly why I believe that based on some of the projections that came out earlier today. We'll discuss it when we come back here on Ragin Rundown. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Ragin Rundown, and we're going to get back into the action in just a second. But before we do, please do me a favor. If you're watching this, please like the video, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening, follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review, because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. So before we went to break, we talked about how Louisiana fell in the Sun Belt Championship game and how I initially felt coming into the tournament that they needed to win it to leave no doubt to be able to get a regional bid. But I feel like with the victories over Coastal Carolina, winning 4 out of 5, what you did in the regular season, putting you in that position with the wins over Southern Miss as well, getting 2 of 4 from them overall throughout the season, I feel like now you've done enough to get yourself a regional bid. As it stands from an RPI perspective, I'm looking here on WarrenNolan.com. This is their live RPI as of Sunday after the championship game at 540. Louisiana's RPI is still at 33. You're in a really good position, right? You're 39-23 overall. You went 8-10 in quad 1 victories, 10-5 in quad 2 victories. I believe those two areas along with what you were able to do in the Sun Belt Conference tournament, gets you a bid in. 3 regional projections that I have been looking at consistently throughout this last week and some change. D1 Baseball released another one this morning, and it has you in the Austin regional with Texas, Miami, of course, UL, and then UC San Diego. UC San Diego, you've played already this season, and you've won games against them. Texas, you were part of the regional with them out in College Station 2 years ago, and Miami, you were in their regional the year before that. So these are all familiar teams that you faced against. It's not a bad bid for you. It would be very interesting to see how that regional would come about if that's where you end up being. Baseball America currently has UL in the Gainesville regional with Florida, Missouri State, a team that you've played. You lost 2 games to, but you did get a victory over them in one of them, and then VCU as the 4 seed. That could be, once again, an interesting matchup. Florida being a top 8 national seed could make it very fun for you to try to see if you can make things happen out of that regional and how chaotic it could be, because right now you're very, very dangerous. Texas also being a projected national seed as a 6th seed according to D1 Baseball's projection, but you're a dangerous team right now. Based on what you were able to do these last 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season, you've won 7 of your last 10. So you've proven that when it matters most, that you can play really, really good baseball when your back is against the wall. And listen, them losing this championship game, I chalk that more up to they're gassed, they're out of arms, they're ready to be done playing. The other team's ready to go home as well. But you still were fighting as hard as you possibly could. Things just didn't fall in your favor. Their bats were hotter than yours. You lose the game. It is what it is. But you have done enough now to be positioned in the postseason. And if you can continue to keep this streak of great playing baseball the way that you have in the end of the regular season and in the way that you did in the conference tournament, you have a shot to make some noise in the postseason. Who knows? You can win one of these regionals. The last projection that I'll look at, 11.7 college baseball, if I can get it to pull back up because I had it refreshing here. It's a college baseball projector. Let me regenerate it for you guys while I'm sitting here, and hopefully it'll come back up while I'm sitting here. They have you in the Tuscaloosa regional with Alabama, Cincinnati, and Binghamton. I've never heard of that school. I don't know where it is. That's interesting. I've never heard of that. This is in real time of me looking at this. I've never heard of that school, but that's the regional that 11.7 has you in based on the field of 64 projector that they have on their website, which is pretty cool to be able to look at that with the resume that you have. Right now, I think you have 4 teams that could potentially be in. Some people are saying that there should be 5. A lot of projections have Texas State as one of the last bubble teams, being first 4 out or next 4 out. Right now, because Troy was one of the last teams playing and the way that they were able to push Southern Miss to their limits, I think they get that final spot. Obviously, USM and Coastal is going to get the first 2. UL will be the third Sun Belt team to get in. And then after that, I think it'll be Troy. It'll be interesting to see what the committee values more because overall, I think both teams have positioned themselves, speaking about Troy and Texas State, they have both positioned themselves to have an opportunity. They've played well enough. Texas State is 6-11 in quad 1 and 5-3 in quad 2, while Troy is 5-12 or 7-12, excuse me, in quad 1 and 5-3 in quad 2. So it's really, really close. It could really be a coin flip. There's no telling. Troy's RPI is 35. Texas State's is 43. That could very well be the difference maker in all of it because of how closely similar they are. But Louisiana has definitely done enough to get themselves in as a regional team. You wish that they could have been able to win the Sun Belt Conference tournament just to put the cherry on top. But hey, if you're going to lose to anybody, lose to a team that has really earned their way all the way through it and played extremely well, not just in this tournament, but also in the regular season, to find themselves in this position as not just the regular season champions, but also the conference tournament champions. So we will be keeping our eyes on the selection show. The field or the national seeds are to be announced here on Sunday, I think in a couple of hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then the actual fields and who will be in each regional, that will be announced on Monday at 11 a.m. I do plan on doing a show right after that to break down the teams that will be in that regional and what it may look like for Louisiana to try to have a path to win said regional that they will be in. I am not in Lafayette currently, but I will be keeping an eye on that. And once we know, we'll see if we're able to travel in that regional to see if we can do it. If we're not, we're still going to cover it as we've always done throughout this season with the Ragin Cajuns to see how they can fare in this postseason. But Louisiana falls in the Sun Belt Championship game 11-7. They finish out their bid 39-23, and now they will wait to see where they will land in terms of a regional. That's going to wrap up this episode here of Ragin Rundown. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. Please do me a favor. Please like it, share it, and leave a comment down below. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And let me know down in the comments, where do you think Louisiana will land for a regional? Is it Tuscaloosa? Is it Gainesville? Is it Austin? Or is it somewhere else? Let me know what you're thinking and where they should land. If you're listening, please follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.